Yes, sir.
Corbin is back.
Yes, sir.
Okay. You may proceed.
Could you please introduce yourself to the court?
Well, sir, my name is Dr. Millie McCoy.
And why are you here today, Dr. McCoy?
I'm here to provide my expertise into the environmental stimuli relating to startle reactions.
And could you explain your educational background?
Certainly. So I grew up on a small farm in Georgia and was always really interested in the animals and why they did what they did, you know, why the pigs rolled around in the mud, why the cow sat there chewing the cud all day. So as soon as I could, I wanted to learn more about the animals and why they did what they did. So after high school, I went to Georgia Tech to get my bachelor's degree in biomedical engineering. And then I went out to California to get my master's degrees in both ethology and zoology from the University of California, Davis. And then after some field work in Tanzania with them boys over in Oxford, I received my PhD from Oxford in 2011 in primatology.
And Dr. McCoy, what is your work experience like?
So I'm currently a visiting professor at Columbia University, professor of ethology, that is.
And could you explain what ethology and zoology are?
Perfect. So ethology is the study of animals behaviorally, so looking at behaviors and that sort of thing. And then zoology is the biological study of animals, so basically looking at the biology of them.
And what is primatology?
Primatology is a subfield of zoology dealing specifically with primates.
Do you have any other relevant credentials?
Yes, I'm a member of several different animal activist groups, and I have 22 articles published in peer-reviewed scientific journals.
Now, do any of these articles relate to this case?
Yes, I can think of two off the top of my head. One is written on common stimuli or startle reactions in chimpanzees, and one is on how to safely train and handle primates.
And are your articles subject to peer review?
Yes, they are.
Now, Dr. McCoy, earlier you mentioned that you assessed the environmental stimuli. How does one start assessing that?
So basically, I take all the materials that I can and gather them all together and try to come up with the most accurate depiction of the environment that I can. And then from there, I look at different stimuli that may or may not have caused any sort of reaction in an animal.
Now, have you ever, did you recover any patterns of action in Elias's behavior?
No, I noticed no patterns of aggression or action in Elias.
So if Elias never had any history of violence, why might he have attacked Chris on June 29th?
Well, that was one of my main conclusions. I do believe that it was because of an environmental stimulus or several environmental stimuli that caused him to become aggressive and exhibit a startle reaction.
And did anything contribute to you making your conclusion specifically?
Yes, I used the guidelines provided by Mr. Kosak and the MTS staff quite extensively.
Would you recognize these guidelines if they were shown to you today?
I would.
Your Honor, may I approach the witness?
You may.
I'll be approaching the witness with what has already been entered into evidence, Exhibit 23.
Okay.
The record reflects I'm showing opposing counsel the same copy I'll be showing the witness.
Any objection?
No objection, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Thank you, counsel.
Dr. McCoy, what have I just handed you?
These are the guidelines provided by Mr. Kosak.
And did you reasonably rely on these guidelines in order to reach your conclusions?
Yes, I did.
Your Honor, permission for my witness to step down and approach demonstrative?
Yes, you may.
Your Honor, may I move to
Yes,
second position?
sure, yeah. Just relocate yourself to a spot where you can observe.
Thank you, counsel.
Now, Dr. McCoy, which guidelines stood out to you?
So mainly I looked at numbers 1, 2, and 13 down here.
Now, why did you circle number 1?
So number 1 here says that no other animals should be present, and that they can make Elias territorial. So basically, if there's another animal around, Elias or any other rational chimpanzee for that matter could have become aware and smelled either even dander or fur if the other animal were not present on the day, and would have gotten territorial because they sense another animal, they see it as an act of aggression towards them, and that could have a negative effect on Elias's mood.
And why did you circle item 2?
So number 2 here says that the smell of food is very confusing for Elias. So basically, again, when trainers are working with their animals, a lot of the time they'll use food as positive reinforcement to get the animal to do what they want them to do. So if the animal smells food, it may again cause them to become a little bit aggressive.
And lastly, why did you circle item 13?
Number 13 here basically says, do not egg Elias on. And basically, the meaning of that is don't make any motions towards the chimpanzee that they could deem as aggressive towards them, and that could, again, negatively affect their mood.
Did you notice in any of your review of the materials any motions towards Elias?
Yes, there was a mention in, I believe, the deposition of Danny Kosak, as well as the affidavit of A.J. McClellan, that there was a motion across the desk by Mr. Alex Grace.
And could that motion have had an adverse effect on Elias?
Absolutely. If Elias perceived that motion as aggressive, he would have, again, become territorial.
Thank you, Dr. McCoy. You may take your seat.
Thank you, Council. Would you like a pen back?
Well, finally, Dr. McCoy, what are your conclusions today?
So, to a reasonable degree of scientific certainty is my conclusion here today that the startle reaction caused by exhibited by Elias the chimpanzee and the subsequent attack is a result of an environmental stimulus or stimuli caused by a violation of one of these guidelines here by the OTS staff.
Thank you, Dr. McCoy. I have no further questions at this time, Your Honor.
Thank you. Cross-examination.